Welcome to Tremendous Talk. We got the industry, tea, and the jokes. Actors, directors, musicians, and more. You're listening to Tremendous Talk.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Tremendous Talk podcast. My name is Law.
And I am Ashley.
Yeah. We're so happy to be back, and we're still talking about The Wedding Banquet, a film coming out on April 18th, directed by Andrew Ahn, and starring
Kelly.
Okay, can you tell we're big fans of Kelly Marie Tran on this podcast? If you haven't heard Kelly's name before, you must have been living under a rock, because she's been everywhere from Star Wars, doing some musical numbers on YouTube. You could catch her on there, and also indie film, and then now The Wedding Banquet. Kelly is just a force to be reckoned with, just an absolutely incredible talent, and I just have to put that out there.
May the force be with you, Law.
No. I mean, yes, I need some of that force.
Kelly is one of my personal role models in all of the entertainment business, truly, with all that she's done, all that she's doing right now, the way she's navigated her journey into Hollywood, and just her story and everything. I am so personally grateful that I get to be involved on the PR side in this beautiful, beautiful film, to be sharing Kelly's story, to be just to talk with her too. What a wonderful conversation, Law. This was truly such a wonderful talk that we got to have with Kelly.
It instantly became one of my favorite episodes that we've ever recorded, and that's it's such a high bar, because we have some incredible talents that come through, but something about, you'll see it in this episode, but Kelly offered a lot of vulnerability, and she was very open about her experiences and what it meant to get into the headspace of this character. And I have to say, the performance, if we're just talking The Wedding Banquet, is incredible. She just turns in a very human, resonant performance, and I'm so excited that just to echo what you're saying, that we get to be involved with kind of getting the word out on this film to the rest of the world, and we're just so honored to have Kelly on the podcast at all.
Yeah, truly. Such a wonderful film. Please check it out. It's, again, the logline is so fun. It's such a fun story. It's two couples that are kind of in each other's space, and there's a lot of things that happen. There's a green card marriage. There's a Subaru involved. There's a whole Korean wedding that happens. There's bird watching. There's a lot of accidents, and I don't want to say what kind of accidents, but they're fun human accidents that highlight the human experience. And I don't care who you are on this freaking planet, in this freaking world, there is at least a tiny bit of this story that's going to resonate with you, and I am so excited for you to watch it on April 18th.
And if some of you are like me, there's going to be a lot of parts of this that will resonate. Prepare for tears and laughs, but first up, enjoy our episode with Kelly Marie Tran. Welcome to the Tremendous Talk podcast, Kelly Marie Tran. Kelly.
Kelly, I just have to start. I got a real big bone to pick with you, and I said this to Montana earlier too, but I'm a little pissed off with you at the moment. I watched Control Freak, and God. I was I noticed I was scratching my head and stuff, and now my husband has eczema. It's a whole thing, and it's disrupted our entire marriage at this point.
Oh my God.
How are you okay? You went from doing Control Freak to doing this very heartwarming film about family and love, from taking a shredder to
Yeah. Oh my God, that's so funny. Yeah, it's been a wild year. I actually did a film in between the two. So I did Control Freak, and then I did this film called Forge that came out at South by last month. And then I did Wedding Banquet. So it was just kind of a crazy time where I was just flipping in between genres and being different people. But yeah, I'm really excited. I'm honestly really proud of all the stuff that I got to be a part of. And I got to work with 4 amazing Asian writer directors last year, 3 of which were queer. And it was just such a wonderful experience. Yeah.
What a blessing.
I know. Grateful, really grateful. Yeah.
I honestly love the variety of things that you've gotten to do in your filmography. It's so cool. I just recently watched Me, Myself, and the Void, and even smaller production, but so great. I love that story. It really hit home too. Even while watching Wedding Banquet, I was like, I cried a lot, and I was just like, man, I really got to work out what's going on with me internally. But you get to work in like a lot of like a interesting spaces emotionally as an actor, and I'm just wondering, like, is there a genre, or do you like indie versus big studio films? Like, what fills your cup the most as a creative?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for saying that. That means a lot to me. I knew that when I started, my dream would be to be able to traverse different genres and different mediums and to play different types of people. And I don't think that that is a privilege afforded to many actors at all, but also even less for women and even less for women of color. Um, so to have been able to do the things that I've already done thus far in my career like means the world to me. Um, yeah, I don't know that I have one specific genre that I love the most. But I will say that I love being afraid to try something I haven't done, and I think I want to keep doing that.
Totally. Was there anything on this project with the wedding banquet what that was vastly different, that was exciting and intimidating at the same time?
Um, yeah, I think the thing that was exciting and intimidating and different was that I had not really spoken publicly about being a queer person. And I was really I think just because of the experience that I've had in the past, um, I was afraid of like sharing another part of my identity. Um, but then I got to work on this incredible movie with these incredible people that in many ways became my chosen family during that summer that we were in Vancouver. And we were constantly talking about um, queer stuff. And it wasn't just the cast, it was also so much of the crew was queer. And everyone was celebrating it. And everyone was so excited that we were on a predominantly queer set, which is not something that's very common at all. Um, so yeah, it was such a healing experience. And I'm really, really grateful.
Oh,
Now I'm imagining everyone running around being like, everything on this set is gay. Just like,
And it was, and it
and it
was.
was
oh,
rightfully so.
I'd love that. I love that so much. Oh, my heart. Just all of this makes me so happy, and I'm so excited for you. I remember when hearing the news about you coming out as queer and just embracing that identity, it felt like every article that I read was like I could hear the applause, like I could hear people championing for you. I could hear everybody just like I don't know if you felt like digital hugs at all, but that's what it felt like was happening. And it was so
Oh.
beautiful. Just everything that you do and being in the AAPI community and like intersectionality is such a big thing too. I love that you were on a set that was like queer and Asian. And I want to like cry even thinking about it. I did want to say though, like, what an ensemble film. This is such an ensemble film. And did you guys, were you in the same womb or something? Like it feels like you guys have known each other literally your whole lives. How did you create this new family or this like this new tableau that we're seeing of what a family unit looks like or like even you and Lily together, what powerhouses.
Yeah. Oh, well, first of all, thank you for saying that. I Yeah, I can't believe I got to share time and space with some of these incredible actors, like people that I've been looking up to for so long. And um, it honestly was weirdly natural and easy to just create camaraderie. Um, Andrew was really good about, creating space for us to sort of talk to each other as well, Lily and I actually didn't get to meet until right before we shot our first scene.
Wow.
Yeah, so we had like I don't know, maybe an hour to like sit there and have a conversation with Andrew and create secrets for ourselves and our characters and sort of build rapport really quickly. Um, and he initiated that. And then from then it was just this wonderful thing of we were all living in Vancouver, which, we're all not local to that city. And so on the weekends we'd be like, let's go on a hike. Let's go to this concert. Let's go. At one point we all went to see Fancy Dance to support Lily because it came out while we were up there. So there were a lot of like just beautiful experiences that we shared offset, and I think that is what helped build us, or build the community that you're seeing on screen.
Totally. I think it's just such an authentic feeling film just throughout. Like even with the crazy circumstance that everyone has to deal with, it feels like everyone was very lived in. So that's kind of
Yeah.
shocking to hear that you had just met Lily before your first scene.
Yeah.
But there was a line that really stood out to me. It was when Mei Chen was talking about your character's queerness. It was like something that happened to her that afflicted her, as opposed to something that was a big, turning point for your character. And I'm wondering, like, because of the authenticity on set with everyone being part of that community, did you feel like there were things you wanted to avoid when representing the queer community in this film, like tropey things? Was that ever a discussion to make it feel authentic to like real human beings instead of some kind of stereotype?
Interesting. Um, Weirdly, I don't think that we talked about that much just because so many of us were living as queer human beings. Like it felt like we knew what that experience was. Um, yeah. So I don't think that we even had a conversation about uh, stereotyping. I think also because the cast is primarily queer, there's so many different iterations of how that presents in different types of people just in one film. Like we
Yeah.
have Bowen, and then we have Chris, and then we have um Angela and Lee, and like they're so different. And then we have Kendall, who is Chris's cousin.
Mm.
So everyone like presents their queerness differently. And I think that we were really lucky that we didn't have to think much about stereotyping because there was a wealth of queer representation in one film, which is not common. I think that would be a concern for me if I was like the only queer character in something. I think I would be thinking about that a lot more.
Yeah, great answer. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
What a naturally fun set too. Plus, I would trust Andrew with my life. Holy
I trust him
cannoli.
with my life. He's so
The
kind and so talented and just the best. And he loves what he does so much, and you can like feel it. And that's so special. You just like want to be around it.
Absolutely. I think that energy is also palpable when you watch it as an audience too. Like you can feel how much everybody loved each other on set. You can feel like the writer putting like his all into the work. So I really enjoyed that. But something I did want to talk about. uh, this might be one of the first times ever that people see a queer couple going through IVF on a big screen like
Mm.
this. What was your experience in going through this story that means so much to people that like some folks, it's such a big deal in the queer community because when you have children, it's an intentional process, right? Like you don't just like maybe we'll have a baby, maybe
Yeah,
we don't
like
have a baby.
yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
no, absolutely. Yeah. It's it's a different process and it's also really high stakes because the costs are really, really high. Um, I think that we all really wanted to portray that journey authentically. And we knew how important it was because, like you said, I personally haven't seen it in another film or in another television show portrayed at all, much less authentically. Like, so I remember a moment when I was doing research about it. And I had a friend, one of my best friends from childhood was going through IVF at that time. And I had asked her if she would be comfortable like sharing her journey with me. Um, and she started sending me videos of things that she had to do. For example, like she had to um, inject herself with different hormones and things like that. And there was a specific video that I actually ended up showing Andrew with her permission, which was her and her partner when she was injecting hormones. Her partner was cheering her on as if it was a sports game. And that is why in the film, when Leah is getting inseminated, I am cheering her on like it's a sports game. That was taken from a real life moment and a real IVF journey. So to me, that's really special because we're getting to honor someone's actual experience doing that very thing. So yeah.
Wow.
I see your face, Ash. That
Stop it.
pause, that's a
Oh,
pause of brewing emotion. That's a really lovely story to share. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Of course. Thank you.
I
Uh,
need to watch that again. Sorry, I need to watch that
I know,
again
new
with that in mind.
perspective
Like,
now.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for sharing
Yeah,
that, Kelly, and thank you
of
to your friend. What a
course.
beautiful friend to
Yeah,
share that
such a
journey.
gift. I know. And Andrew has been so collaborative and so receptive to anything that I think any of the actors would bring up as a concern or as a question. And he was really open to improv too, and not just
Mm.
in comedic moments, like in a lot of the dramatic moments. So in that same scene, um, after the sports cheering, Angela says, I love you, I love you, I love you, which becomes this pattern. And that was just something that happened in the moment. He said, I remember Andrew saying to me, now just take her hand and say what you would really want to say. And I said that, and then it became this thing that Angela and Lee would say to each other all the time. So there was a lot of little moments like that that I think are just really special that just come from being in the moment, being there, and having a collaboration with someone like Andrew who creates an environment that is so open and yeah, it really gives you the ability to try something. And then it becomes part of it, which is wild.
You
That's
know,
beautiful.
when you say I love you, I love you, I love you for the first time, I think you're at the microscope. That was the first time that I actually cracked and cried in this movie, which is so, I'm so glad you brought it up because the delivery of that felt so genuine. I don't know, it just hit, it just tugged on the heartstring in the exact right way. And that made me so emotional. And that's like, it's such an authentic way to tell someone that you love them and in such a reassuring way, not like everything's going to be okay. It's just like very simply those three words repeated in that candor. It was just that I really love that you shared that with us because that was such a powerful little beat for me. And I was just like, oh, I'm going to be crying and laughing, but a lot of crying just because of that moment. I knew I was, it's all downhill from here.
Means so much to me.
Oh, I'm so glad. You know, there was something beautiful in the film where Min's grandmother mentions his garment and how it's just a bunch of small pieces stitched together to create something meaningful. And so it made me curious for you, what are like some of the small parts of your journey in this industry in your life that kind of has stitched together and compounded to make whatever your journey looks like now more meaningful and full?
Yeah. Such a beautiful question and also such a beautifully written scene. I love that scene
Yeah.
between yeah, such a beautiful scene. Um, I think the weird thing about life and careers and journeys, especially when you're in a career that is so unpredictable, uh, is like you said, you're able to look back and see how the garment sort of fits together, but moving forward, you have no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
And now when I look back, I can see why things happened the way they did. The bad experiences and the good experiences I recognize as, I mean, I would never wish anything bad upon anyone for the sake of development, character development. But now when I look back to the things that happened to me, I'm like, oh, I'm really grateful that the things that I was once taught to be ashamed of in my younger years, my Asianness, my queerness, my body, um, I'm really grateful that now I'm making art that celebrates all of those things. Um, yeah, and I think that it's only in looking back that I can see and understand that. So I'm very grateful to be able to, in hindsight, understand why things happened the way they did.
Mhm. Totally.
Wow. That's so wonderful. What just things are hard and you can look back at them like with this blessing kind of in your mind. Like I love that and thinking of that quilt too. That's really beautiful. I wonder if this kind of ties in with this question though. Like when I watched you in the wedding banquet, you are such a grounding force. Like I see every emotion in your face. I understand what's going on like in your world. You let us in. So like your character, albeit a little closed off in the film, but you like take us in, like you shove us into your chest almost, which is so wonderful. And I noticed that about so much of your acting, especially in watching Control Freak and The Wedding Banquet back to back, which I don't recommend to
Oh my
anyone.
God, you watch them back to back. How jarring.
Not a good idea.
That's
Don't
range,
recommend.
baby.
So jarring.
But I loved it. But it just made it so apparent that like you really like you are such a not even just a good actor, but you are so in tune with your emotions. You're so in tune to just like the human experience and sharing that with other people too. Can you talk about, I don't know, any of that, just like how you brought that to life in your character and how you brought it to life in the wedding banquet or anything that you do, just like letting us into your world as an actor.
Oh, wow. First of all, thank you for saying that. That means a lot to me. The thing that I love the most about acting is that I get to investigate what it is to be different types of people. And I get to put myself in the shoes of someone that I could never be. And I think on the one hand, what a privilege and what a joy. And on the other hand, it makes life pretty complicated because then you start to realize that you can't hate anybody. If there's a is the one lesson I've learned is that of all the characters I've played, and like you said, you watched Control Freak and Wedding Banquet, which are like two completely different things. Um, the reality of it is that the way into a character starts with similarity. If I read a character and I'm like, whoa, like this is totally different from who I am, the way in is to be like, what are the similarities and how can I start from there? And when you start doing that process over and over, you start to realize that people aren't that different. Um, we might have different ways of dealing with a situation. We might have different ways of speaking or walking or different ways of shielding ourselves from really feeling what we're feeling. But at the core, you know, we all want love. We all want acceptance. There's these sort of core things that people want. Some people really want power, like Val in Control Freak. I think she really wants power. But at the end of the day, I think the thing that's made it so complicated is now I do this in my life
Mm.
where someone will do something terrible to me and still I'll be like, yeah, but you know what? That's coming from here and it's probably because of this and this thing. And it gives you context,
Mm.
which is the beauty of the job is finding the context of the person. And also it means that you're now holding a lot more, if that makes sense. If someone does something terrible to you, I think when I was younger, it was so easy for me to be like, I hate that person. And now I'm like, I can't really hate anybody because my job is finding compassion and finding the commonality, and I can do it so quickly now. And so it's very complicated. I have a complicated relationship with almost this like hyper compassion, almost like hyper
Mm.
empathy. Yeah, but that is sort of the way into the work and the best thing I love about it, and also the most complicated thing about it, I think.
Wow. I know what I'm talking about in therapy on Monday.
Yeah, for real. Opening doors left and right today. You know, we want to be mindful of your time and the long day that you've had. So thank you, first of all, for being on the podcast. You know, something that we do with all of our guests, we love to pass the mic at the end. So if there's anything that you want to promote, any advice you want to give, any words at all that you have in mind, we're so grateful to have you on our small platform to share that word. So I'm going to hand you the mic over.
Oh my God, thank
You're
you.
so welcome. See, prop work. I like it. We're finding our space.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm still holding this. Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This was such a good conversation. I feel like we talked so much about the things I'm currently doing, which I don't feel like I need to promote anything else. And when it comes to advice, I don't know. I have such a hard time giving advice because I really do think like every person is so different. And just because my journey went the way it did doesn't mean that if someone followed the same exact footsteps, it would lead the same way, especially in entertainment. But I would venture to say in any career, I think that we often like to sort of brainwash ourselves into believing like, oh, if I'm in this type of career, then I'll know exactly how to get here or how to do that. But I found that life is just super unpredictable. And that being said, I don't want to give advice to anyone, but I will say the advice that I would give to my younger self, um, which would be one, you are enough. Two, you deserve to be here. Three, you have valuable things to contribute. And four, please stay. It gets better. Those are the things that I would say.
Wow. Well, thank you for being so vulnerable. I feel like we had like a 5 hour conversation compacted into 20 minutes,
It really did. Yeah.
I'm so glad we got some insight. I mean, I could speak for us both, but whether you're in space getting a sham wedding My Number One Son, all of that stuff. We are such
Oh my
big
God,
fans of
deep
you. We
cut,
root
deep
for you.
cut.
Deep cut. I was able to see you perform like a musical improv thing with Janzi one time. And so I was
Oh
just
my
like, this is
God.
so
You went,
cool to
wait,
see
wait,
in
you
this
went
light.
to Broadway plus improv?
Yes, that
My
was exactly
favorite
it.
indie improv show in Los Angeles.
That's exactly
Shout out.
where I saw
Oh
you there.
my
Yeah.
God. Wait.
But yes, thank you so much for your time. We're big fans.
Thank you for having me. This was awesome. Awesome.
The Tremendous Talk podcast is produced by Lawrence Sharma, Ashley Rapuano Sanchez, Gabriela David, Joseph Feralde, and Jeremiah Abraham in collaboration with Tremendous. The Tremendous Talk podcast jingle is by Jared Sanchez and Ashley Rapuano Sanchez, produced at Amsterdam Records.